The point I'm making is just because judgment doesn't happen right away doesn't mean that judgment isn't coming. And the Bible says, that because it's not executed speedily, it's fully set in the heart of men to do evil. Because, they shake their fist at God and God doesn't give them a heart attack. He could, but He doesn't. They shake their fist again, and guess what? More people shake their fist. More people are like, oh, well, look, nothing happened to me. But here's what I want to bring out of this. Because God's judgment was silent doesn't mean He was consenting to their actions. And I want to just kind of stop here, just something kind of not even related. This statement, silence is consent, is bogus. Okay, I don't give my opinion every time I hear someone say something wrong. I'm not called to correct every false statement that I hear. Oh, I got to say something because silence is consent. No, my friend, God was silent for many years, and finally He says, hey, you know what this judgment's for? Way back then, when Manasseh did whatever he did, he's going to be destroyed for it because God was boiling in heaven, and people are like, well, God didn't say anything. America, we started homosexuality, marriage is allowed, and look, America's still free. Hey, don't think that because God hasn't done anything that He's consenting with what's taking place. Judgment's coming, my friend. And these Christians out there that think that every time something bad is done, or every time another preacher says something, or every time another Christian says something, and we don't just openly rebuke them right away, that was like, consent, you're consenting. That's crazy. But I've heard this used many times when it comes to a situation where if you don't agree with what's being done, you have to speak up, because if you don't speak up, you're consenting to what's being done. And that is far from the case. There's a lot of things that personally I don't address and I overlook, but if someone were to come to me and say, hey, preacher, what's your opinion on this? I'd be glad to give it. But I'm not just going to go, quote, lording into people's homes and lording into people's decisions and just expressing my opinion as if it's from God. But I guarantee you, I have opinions on things, and I bet you do too. And just because you keep silent on things doesn't mean you're consenting to things. Everybody understand that? That just doesn't even make sense. Silence is consent. And I've heard that used in many areas, and I don't want to go into all the areas, but most times it's always used when someone thinks that you should jump on their bandwagon for whatever they're protesting, and if you don't agree with this protest, you're consenting to it, and that's not the case, my friend. I can consent, I could be in disagreement with it, but just say, you know what, that's not what I want to do right now. That's not the protest that I want to be doing.